April 2016, I was elected the first female president of the Law Association of Zambia in the entire history of the Bar Association. Having held the office for about 2 years, I can concur with the late great philosopher David Bowie, who once said, "Don't be the first, be the second." Being a female leader, particularly in a patriarchal society, is fraught with challenges, not least of which is actually getting into office. I took deliberate steps to become the president of the association over a period of about 7 years. I knew that, for example, in the cyber age, women are considered to be less likable, less competent, and are subject to more abuse online as well as in person. I was also subject to some bias during my election campaign. Somebody actually asked, does Linda read the Bible? Doesn't she know that men are supposed to be in charge? And yet, I beat the 2 male opponents that I was standing against without having to bribe a single voter and on an issue-based campaign. So the Law Association of Zambia has a statutory mandate to promote and protect the rule of law, constitutionalism, good governance, and social justice, aside from regulating the legal profession in Zambia. That often means coming against government. During my 2 years in office, I experienced the following. Ruling party cadres came to the Law Association offices, some of them wielding weapons, to demonstrate against myself and the association. This happened on 2 occasions, once at the association and once in the CBD. We had ruling party MPs draft and publish a bill to dissolve the Law Association of Zambia. And as a result of that move, there were some lawyers within the association who were affiliated to the government who decided to call for an extraordinary general meeting to call for a vote of no confidence in the council of the association. It failed, but it was a trying time nonetheless. And lastly, I've had both the Secretary General of the ruling party and the Republican president himself declare me to be a political enemy on 2 separate occasions. I would say to women who want to be in leadership that they shouldn't be afraid of failure. You shouldn't be afraid of looking a bit foolish. I would echo the words of Denzel Washington in his address to the University of Pennsylvania in 2011, where he says, "Fail forward." Fail forward with the hope that you can get up, dust yourself off, and start over. Or, in the words of the US Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she advises, sometimes it helps to be a little deaf. Easier said than done when there are times when you have to walk your leadership journey on your own. In the words of Zambian wordsmith Chanda Mfula, character isn't built across the entire race that you have to travel. It's built in that extra mile you discovered you had to run just when you thought the race was over. It would be remiss of me not to mention that I have achieved the level of success I have due to the encouragement and support of many male colleagues and friends. With their support, I was able to become the first female named partner in a top-ranked firm in Zambia. And it is through male champions such as this, and only through that, that we can have more women empowered. What I'd like men to know about being a woman in leadership is that it's considerably harder to be considered a good leader. You have to work twice as hard to be considered even as equally competent as a man. You have to always know what you're talking about because your competence is often questioned. And for the ladies, you always have to look photo ready because your physical appearance is considered to be a distraction. Relatively speaking, there are few women in leadership positions in Zambia. I'm encouraged by the fact that the numbers are growing, and we need that to happen because it's only when we have an appreciable number of women in leadership, a critical mass, that we'll be considered for things outside, that we will not be considered for things outside of our intelligence and competence. Women bring a different perspective to the table through our experiences as a result of our gender. And in my opinion, the key to success is to have courage, perseverance, and a dose of self-belief. In my own personal life, I could not have done without my own faith as a Christian. For me, I could not have fought the battle against Goliath or left the lion's den unscathed without my faith. As the Zambian wordsmith Chandamfura likes to say, at the end of every story of public service, only integrity survives. Thank you.